what's up, everybody? Welcome to our Sunday conversation. What's going on with you, Coach Buell?
What's happening? I had no fear. Big things is here for our Sunday conversation. Coach, today we sit down with a friend of the family, my guy, Coach Frank Parks, new head coach of Berea.
We here with new Berea head coach.
Coach. Give me some more energy for Coach Parks now. Come on, man. This is
Go ahead, dog. Bring it
together. Yo.
Coach Buell, tell us.
All right, man. We sit down today with my guy, Coach Frank Parks, former Bryan Station head coach, new Berea community head coach, Coach Parks. My guy, thanks for joining us, Coach.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, man, Coach Parks, first I'm going to say, man, congratulations on the new job, Coach. You've always been a big supporter of this program from day one, man. And it was a pleasure meeting you at Bryan Station, getting a chance to see you, know you for myself, man, and seeing all the good you had to do, all the battles you had to fight to get Bryan Station where it was. So, man, I wish you nothing but the best. And thank you very much, like I said, for being a supporter of us from day one.
I appreciate it, man. I always love working with those kids. It always have a special place in my heart. Being able to coach over there and coach in that community and with those kids, it's always a lot
Coach,
of love.
Man, you had a lot of success at Bryan Station, 35-55 all the time. You had two Achilles heels at one time. You had Scott Caddy you had to deal with, always kind of hindered you a little bit. And then Frederick Douglas came in and pretty much decimated your program. Took a lot of kids you depended on for the next few years and them losing them kids. How was it dealing with all that while at Bryan Station?
Man, it was really tough because, we had a good group that left the seniors with the Devin Keys, Andres, and then you had a sophomore group. There was going to be a sophomore group right behind them that we played with Jalen, Michael Lowe, and Kendrick, and all those guys. So we started a whole bunch of sophomores right before the split happened. So, those kids got a lot of learning experience. So then you go back, you thinking you're going to have anywhere from 12 to 15 starters back that were sophomores, a couple of juniors, and then all of them are gone. So pretty much you starting from scratch, starting all over. And, we didn't have all the resources some of the other schools had. So, we just had to put our head down and grind. I never made any excuses, but there's a lot of things people didn't know that took place while I was at the top, but I never really said anything because it didn't make no difference. My job was trying to get those kids prepared to be able to perform at a high level on Friday nights.
Seeing how well Bryan Station was this year, and knowing a lot of them kids you had from as freshmen that had it, you see their growth and development. A lot of them kids you threw in the fire early on, like the Damon Greens. You had to depend on him as a freshman to play a lot for you. Joey Bond was young playing for you. How was it seeing them kids come to fruition and reach their potential this year and have the success they did?
Well, you know what? Last year at our last coaches meeting, me and a couple of coaches was talking. I'm like, man, this group is going to be real good this year. And, one or two of them thought maybe be another year away. I'm telling you, this group is going to be pretty good. Like you said, we played a lot of them as freshmen and sophomore. My last year there, 90+% of the offense production was sophomores. So, and they was a couple turnovers here and there from winning 3 or 4 more games. So, as juniors now, they no longer the smaller guys, the inexperienced guys. Now they become the experienced guys and have played 2 or 3 years before they probably should have, but we didn't have much of a choice. And, they was able to reap the benefits of playing such at an early stage, which, I was happy to see those kids have success because they worked very hard. They didn't always get some of the things other kids got that they probably should to help build them up quicker, but I was proud of them, and I talked to several of them. They would text me after games and things like that. So I was happy for those kids. Like I say, I talked to several of those kids, and very rarely will you find one of my former players that would say that we wasn't candid but honest and we have their best interests at heart. A lot of times coaches will say it's about the kids, but sometimes it's more about them winning. But there's not any of these kids that could say, man, he didn't try to make sure we left here and was able to have some success. Even some of the ones that was, a little rough around the edges and, would say this and that because, they was young kids at the time, text me, coach, man, you was right. You was right about college. I wish I'd go back and listen to you, because I was always about those kids, man, because at the end of the day, I used to tell them too, I said, a lot of times you get coaches who try to use you up, and that wasn't what I was about. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to use those kids. I was going to make sure they have their grades. That's why I was able to put so many kids in college, whether it was NIA to Division I, because when coaches came in, their transcripts looked good because, we did study halls twice a week to make sure those kids' grades were together. That's the first thing I implemented. So we really didn't have to worry about kids being ineligible because, I made sure their grades were good. And, when you say about the other stuff, one thing too about that is you're never going to make everyone happy. So if you're doing right by the kids and the kids know it, then people going to talk and they're going to believe whatever they want to believe because, either they're with you or against you. So I never really got caught up in, that whole, well, he should have did this, he ain't doing this, because there's always going to be a but. Regardless of what you do, it's going to be a but.
Yeah.
And you think about our scheduling. If you go back and look at our schedule, you wouldn't find any of my schedules where we have more losing teams on there than winning teams. One of those things is you could play a weak schedule and get 10 wins, but have you really done much if you was playing the top teams? Some of it is with that schedule. I was trying to make sure when we had that good group that they seen what a top-notch program was. So then when we started having success, it came to the point where, heck, when nobody play us. So then when the split happened, you got Belford and Mel on there, and I'm playing sophomores and freshmen. I mean, you talking about the state champion, a semifinalist. I mean, you talking about all those great programs. And if you thought about it, Madison Central one year went to the semifinals, and we beat them by like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But it's because we played such a tough schedule, and we didn't have much of a choice at that point because, didn't nobody want to really come over and take a chance of getting beat.
Now, Coach, you kind of, I guess, coming home now, for real, this kind of like back to your roots where you started at. So kind of tell us how this came to be. How you ended up at Berea, Coach?
Well, it's one of the things, it had came open last year, and I kind of looked into it, but with the pandemic and stuff, I kind of decided, they went with the interim, and I decided to come back home to Madison Central. I had a lot of opportunities, great opportunities, but I figured it was better for a year to come back home. I was able to be around my family more, my daughters playing a lot of sports, so I didn't have to miss anything. So it was just a right move for the family coming back home.
Now, last year you was defensive coordinator at Madison Central. How does it feel being back in the range, leading your own program again?
Well, it's great. Last year I helped out with Madison Central, like you said. Coach Kirk was the defense coordinator. I kind of helped him coordinate the defense. But it's not like being able to be in control of your own program and do things the way you would like to and have a little more input and your stamp on the program and all the kids in the program. So I felt like after last year, I was ready to get back to being at the helm of a program.
Now, one thing I know about you, Coach, is you always learning. What's the saying? If you're not losing, you're learning. So my thing is, Coach, going into this now as Berea head coach, what's some of the things that you've learned or you're taking that now you're implementing into this program coming from everything you've learned so far? Well,
like you say, I'm always learning. And last year, I was able to reflect this past season on just some things that, I wanted to do different, like, with your coaches. Sometimes you got to make sure everyone's on the same page, teach them up a little bit more, making sure everyone is doing what you would like for them to do as far as, coaching and the schemes. And I think even with the kids, nowadays kids are more likely to ask you why. You know, been a little older school, far as, you know, coaching goes, sometimes coaches don't want to really answer that why, but I think it's a great thing because it really means the kids are engaged when they asking why, I want to know questions. So I think that's a big thing I took out of it too, making sure me and the coaches understand when these kids asking why, they are really engaged in what you're doing and just really want to understand what's going on. So I think that's one big thing that, you know, sitting away, getting away from being at the top is understanding kids have changed from that standpoint. They want to learn, but they ask a lot of questions and, you know, always at why. And as coaches, you got to be able to tell them why. And most of the time, once you're able to translate that, then
all right, Coach, man, you know, so now
level.
here we are taking over this Berea program. Kind of tell us about the Pirates, Coach. I know last season they didn't win a game. You've got quite a bit of juniors. The last season, quite a bit of juniors and sophomores coming back. So it looks like you've got an experienced team. Tell us about this challenge, Coach.
Well, the first thing I did when I looked into, I kind of looked at some of the game film, you know, with technology today, you can look at the game film. I've seen actually some kids that could play. They had some good pieces in play. So that's the first thing that, you know, I looked at. And then, you know, when I had talked with the administration and Mr. Owens, who was kind of heading up the search, we had a very good conversation just talking about football and the expectations of Berea, and that was very realistic. Then, you know, go to the interview and talk to the principal. I mean, it's a great administration. So I was like, okay, this is something that, you know, you can build upon. And, you know, we have been working out in the weight room, and the kids are very hard workers, and they want to win. They want to learn. And, you know, I always looked at Berea as a place that could have some success, especially being located where they're at 1A school. You're in Central Kentucky, kind of in between Madison Central and Berea. It's an independent school. So it was just took the right group of people who really want to have some success, but also have realistic expectations. You know, after having those conversations, I was like, this is a place that you can actually build something special.
Now, when you took over Bryan Station your first year, that was like a rebuilding year. You know, they had kind of been down for a few years, and you took it over and started rebuilding it. Such as what you're doing here now. Do you thrive in those rebuilding programs, or you like to walk in something a little ready-made? Are you just good for punishment, Coach?
Well, you know, those one of the things I always look at what things can be and not what they are. You know, even at Bryan Station, at that point, you know, we were starting to elevate the program. Then the split happened, and then, you know, they had all those other resources, other places that we didn't have. And then you look at this place, it has some potential, but the key component is you have administration in place who have realistic expectations, but are trying to do some things to build the program. So, you know, I always said if I was going to take another head coaching job, I had to make sure I was in lock and step with the administration, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing when it comes to sports, and even more so in high school sports. When you're taking over a program, are you and administration, you know, see eye to eye, want some of the same things, and, you know, willing to build and provide some resources to help you build a
now
program.
Heading into this Berea position, do you have your staff set yet, Coach?
I do. I have a pretty good staff put together. That's one thing I've been fortunate throughout the years to have some knowledgeable guys on my staffs, and this is a same way. You probably wouldn't find a better staff at a 1A level around here. I have Rocky Jones, a young guy with a high IQ, who's gonna run a defense for me. He was down here at Madison Central this past year. Then I have Robbie Rowley. He's gonna coordinate the offense with me. And I have some other guys, Charlie Owens, who have coached at Garrett County, East Jasmine. I think he was at LCA for a little bit. So I got some quality guys that are going to help be able to build this program.
Now, we're in the spring. Are you having a spring ball with this? How you work that, Coach?
We are not, with being at a 1A school, a lot of those guys play multiple sports, which I encourage them to. So we have about 9 kids that are playing baseball. So what we're going to do is in June, around June 1st, we're going to have a little 12-day mini camp, things that we would have did in the spring, just no contact, obviously no helmets and stuff because of the rules, but we'll put in the offense and defense and work on all those fundamentals just like we was in spring ball.
How many kids are you looking to have on a roster? I don't know how many kids they had last year, and do you go out and try to start finding kids in the school and try to see if you get some kids to come out?
Well, my goal for this first year is 30. If I get 30 on this 1A level, then we continue to build. Eventually, I want to get around 35 to 40 as we continue to move the program and progress the program forward. But we close to that number right now. So I've been having the kids because they actually started school a bit, in-person school a little bit later. So I have been on the kids, weightlifting about recruiting some of their friends and some of their buddies to come out and join. So my goal is to have 30 this year.
I know, just looking at the stats from last season, you'll be returning the quarterback, like you said. That's Jaden Cunningham. He was a junior. And then the second guy, Jamil Cruz, you got some guys coming back, just played a little bit. You'll be returning your top 2 runners and your second leading receiver, Coach. So the cover is not bare as far as kids having experience and coming back. What's probably one of the biggest things you think that you need to improve to get Berea back where they were?
Well, one thing I think just some fundamental skills and, some organization and some consistency, because I watched them on defense. They played very hard last year, just some fundamental things that they needed to improve on. And with COVID, and having an interim coach, it was tough on everyone. So I think, me being a head coach before and been doing this for a while, those fundamental things I think will help this program out tremendously. Offensively, just a system that cater to what we can do well, what they do well, and that's a big thing is just, the running game, cater Cunningham style, he's a downhill runner, better in between the tackles. And, you got Cruz, like you said, can do several different things as far as being in slot or actually taking some handoffs. So there's a lot of versatility there with some of those guys. We just got to put them in a system where they can flourish and take advantage of their skill sets.
Man, what's your schedule looking like for this upcoming season, Coach? You got your schedule already together?
I do, and it's not one of them that I previously used to have. This is a little more manageable schedule. It was tough.
Coach, you ain't playing Mayo this season, Coach?
Man, ain't no Males, ain't no Belfry, all back to back. But we got a pretty good schedule, but it's manageable. We start off with Harlan Independent, then we got Nicholas County, and then you got Pineville, you got KCD, which will be a tough one in our district, along with Frankfort and Eminence. So it's a whole lot more manageable schedule than I'm used to playing. It was a little easier getting people to play you at Berea than it was when I was at Bryan Station for those years. So it's a whole lot different situation as far as my scheduling goes and went.
Now you were talking about the offense. I'm just curious, Coach. You kind of been a spread, man. What we looking at as the Pirates, Coach? We finna fill the air full of balls or what, Coach?
Well, you could say we was spread, but we always did what we had. You looked at it when we had Bo and Andre, we had most of the receivers. We didn't really have a true running back, so we took the short passing game. We could go over top with CJ and Saquon and all those guys. And when we had Jalen at quarterback, we was more of a running team. So you could say we spread, but we adapt to what we have offensively. So, but with the quarterback we got, we'll be, I guess, spread, but we'll be balanced because, we got a pretty good running back. So I want to be able to be multidimensional.
What about on defense, Coach? What you got coming back on defense? Anybody catching your eye?
Yeah, well, you got Cunningham be at that D line. One of the kids I really thought was a heck of a football player is hurting, and we don't know if we're gonna get him back. Ashton Music, he was played hard. I seen him. He kind of reminded me. He played as hard as Devin Key did. One thing about Devin Key, he was one of my best football players, but you couldn't find one who played harder. So he played as hard as he does. Then I have another kid, Clayton Martinez, very good DB. I think a defensive front would be real good with Connor, Jaden, and a kid named Ty Thompson that knows. Cruz, he'll play a little defense too. So defense would be pretty stout because they played hard. They played real hard, and they was all over the place. So I'm excited about seeing them, in our system, making plays and, playing aggressive style of defense.
Sound like you ready to go, Coach.
I'm excited with this group, man. I really am. It's funny because, I see some other coaches out that I've known for a while. Some of them like, Berea? And I'm like, yeah, man, Berea, like I say, I always look at what things can be, not necessarily what they are at the moment. But when you work with those kids and just see how much intensity and how hard they work and how much they want to have some success, it's refreshing. It really is.
Coach Parks, man, it's always a pleasure to sit down to you. Like I said, you became like friend or family to us now, man. So wish you nothing but the best of Berea, man, and good luck. And I'm saying it's good to see you back leading the program again.
Hey, Coach, I do want to say this, though. I got to get some Berea gear. I like that Pirates gear, Coach, man.
All right,
colors. Berea got some nice stuff, Coach.
Yeah, we get y'all together. We'll get y'all together.
I'll take it, Coach. I'm telling you, I'm aware that somebody, if you start off 0-4,
I already know.
Listen, your stuff might be in a yard sale somewhere.
Come on, man.
But listen, I'm going to say this, though. Truck, I always helped out regardless of what was going on. Desmond was gone. Truck, I always came through and helped, man. I really appreciate that. Like, real, I always appreciate it. I don't know, what I'm saying? I would tell him I appreciate him, but I don't know if he really understood how much, I appreciate what he did. And I know where he's talking about when he's winning, he's riding. I know what's that about.
You understand, Coach.
Yeah, I do. But, man, y'all doing a great job with this thing, too, man. I mean, I wish y'all nothing but the best. You know what I'm saying? See y'all two brothers doing this and,
Coach, man, we just be there to check you out for sure, man. Wish you nothing but the best.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all.
Man, I'm glad to see Coach Parks laying back on his feet. You can tell that, he talked about some of the stuff he learned from his past coaching jobs and look forward to bigger things out of Berea, Coach.
Coach, you want to find a nicer guy in all of high school football. He's well respected. He cared about the kids. He could have been more grimy, but he wasn't about that. He's about these kids and trying to do it the right way at Bryan Station. So I wish you. And as always, that should be a living donor. I'm Coach Bew, my man, Coach Truck. Make sure you catch out our Sunday conversation every Sunday. We talk to some of the top coaches in the state. Coach, anything else?
Hey, share, subscribe, and like. Like Coach Bew say, holla at us. We got big things. So we just got a shipment in. So holla at me if you want something and I couldn't get back to you. We ready to roll, y'all. Peace.